Hi, this is Ernie. I'm the guy who had $6 in his checking account to now having millions of dollars. And I have a special guest. He's a dear friend of mine for close to 30 years. And he's going through the process of paying off a debt and, avoiding a possible bankruptcy. So I want you guys to hear directly from him through my interview with him.
Hey Ernie, thanks for having me on your show. I'm Jordi, the guy that turned hundreds of thousands into pennies.
Thanks, Jordi. Can you tell these folks how you got into debt?
Okay, so I was an SBA lender and I decided to start a men's clinic. I did my research, I put in my savings, I got a small medical loan for it, and it took far longer than I expected and way more money than I anticipated.
So, Jordi, what happened to that business?
So I did all the behavioral errors that people make, right? So as I was losing money, people would advise me to cut my losses, shut down, and I would think, gosh, I put so much money, so much time, I've learned so much. If I can just hold on a little longer, then I'll be able to make it. And so I kept investing because I didn't want to lose. I thought a little more. Then 2 months before COVID hit, I had 2 months that we had really good profit. And this actually was like a curse in disguise because it was enough for me to have that taste and to keep it open. Well, we did close it for the COVID period, but it wasn't, but to sustain it for that extra 2 years until it reopened, I just went further into debt and it never recovered. So it just got worse.
So now that you have a lot of debt, what did you end up doing and what options did you have to get rid of that?
By the time I closed my business, I got a new job, but my debt service was far above my current income. My options were quite limited. I could, in Spanish we have this term called jinetear, where you just kick it down the road, pay some loans, delay some others, and just delay the imminent fall. The other option was file for bankruptcy, which at the time my income was too high, so it would have been like a restructured bankruptcy. I don't remember what chapter this is. And the other option was to negotiate or consolidate debt. So that's what I opted for.
So you're trying to pay off or take care of this debt on your own. How did you do it?
So the next approach is more brutal because I take it upon myself to negotiate. Some loans, for example, American Express, they're phenomenal. You call them up, ask for hardship relief, and they gave me 5-year term out at 0% interest. Other credit cards are great at that, and they're very easy to negotiate, and they have plans in place. Others, for example, I had Discover card. They have a 6-month relief, and then it expires, and they don't have anything else that they offer. SoFi loan, they're brutal. I mean, they're not in the business of renegotiating. They would rather they would rather collect. So this is a very difficult approach because you're terming out some loans and you can make it if they all agree, but they're always dependent on everyone to get on board. So I negotiated with most of the lenders, the ones that were not easy, but amenable to negotiating. SoFi loan was the one that was killing me because that was a 2-monthly $2,000 payment a month. The medical loan was $1,000 a month. Thankfully, that one I was paying off soon, so I was able to just kick it down the line until I paid it off. SoFi, I had to brace, and I just stopped paying it until they threw it to collections. What I learned then is that in collections, they're much more willing to negotiate. So either someone buys the defaulted loan and they negotiate with you, Or in my case, SoFi kept the loan and then they were willing to negotiate. What they negotiated with me is half of the loan payment of the balance right away. And I was able to, I had sold a car, I had some money that had come in from my tax returns that was significant because of the losses I had accumulated. And also my mom gave me a loan.
So how did you convince to let lenders renegotiate? Is there a trick or is there something that triggers? And I'm sure it eventually took a toll on your credit score. How did that affect you?
So what I learned, and it's a painful learning curve because it hits your pride, right? I went from having an 800 credit score to very low in the 500s. But what I learned too is that to some credit cards, they're very willing to work with you. Others, they don't really care. If you're a small borrower, you have $20,000 balance, it's not worth the time for them. But what I learned is that you brace, and in some cases, you basically had to, and thankfully I had some good advisors, you basically delay payment. Once you hit the 3 months non-payment, in some cases it's less than that, then you can negotiate and get in term out plans. Or they would be willing to give you like a buyout where you just pay a fraction of the balance. In my case, I wanted to pay off my entire loan balance, so I got into 5-year term out plans with 3 credit card holders. I mean, I was the credit card issuers, but I had to basically let the account go into not necessarily collections, but into basically defaulted, right, for 3 months. And then they were willing to negotiate 5-year term outs at less than, in some cases, 1%, other cases 0, and the highest one was right below 5. So that's how I got off my loans. Now I'm still paying, of course, but my monthly payment right now is far manageable, and I'm paying off debt and accelerating payments when I pay off something. So thankfully now I'm above water. I can breathe. I didn't file for bankruptcy. My credit score took a hit. Now I'm back at 700, and I'm paying. So thanks to God and the lenders that were willing to negotiate. Hope it's helpful and inspiring. Bye.
Thank you, Jordi. For those who are listening to this, you're not alone. There are a lot of people who struggle with their small businesses or medical bills and so forth. And I'm not saying that that is the path that you need to take, the same path that Jordi took. But there are ways to work with your credit lender so that you'll be able to get out of debt. Of course, it's going to impact your credit score. You might not be able to get rental properties or even cars. But just like his example, he was able to manage to come back now to 700. Still not what he used to be, but there are ways to do it. But the key thing is he took the necessary steps to negotiate to pay off the debt. And as you recall, his ex-wife that I knew well, they decide to cut cost so that you'll be able to pay this off. So I think that is the key. If you're able to minimize expenses and take some short-term sacrifices, you will be able to pay off your debt. Hopefully this is useful. I have another interview with him sometime next week, so I'll post that as well. That one is a little more inspirational and not as depressing, I promise. And sorry for not posting video for a while. Stay tuned.